Now it's time to move forward this evening, and we come back to a fundamental question that we've been exploring since the beginning. How do brands build long-term equity in an age defined by intelligence and immediacy? As AI reshapes the way brands create, communicate, and customize at scale, the challenge is balancing speed with substance. Our next panel will explore how creativity is evolving, how storytelling is being reimagined, and how personalization can coexist with consistency to build brands that last. And to join me for this discussion is Mr. Varun Sethuraman, who's the head of marketing communications at Nestlé India. Please, may we have you on stage, and let's welcome all our panelists with a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Varun is a marketing communications leader. He's shaping trusted, purpose-led brand narratives at scale. Also joining us is going to be Chandan Mendiratha, who's the CBO at Zepto. He's a business leader building momentum and differentiation in India's fast-growing quick commerce space. Aditya Krishna, who's the director at Sales and Marketing for McCain Retail. He's a sales and marketing leader, strengthening brand presence and retail impact across categories. Also welcoming Sandeep Shukla, who's the VP and Communications Head at Jaquar Company. He's a communications leader, elevating brand stature and consistency in the lifestyle and building solutions space. Ladies and gentlemen, let's also have a very special round of applause for Pooja Baid, who's the CMO at Versuni, a diverse marketing leader. Pooja is transforming product experiences and driving growth in the domestic appliances sector. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome them all with a huge round of applause. Let me welcome myself. So Varun, let me begin with legacy brands at the moment, Nestlé being one of them, with many products. And what comes to mind for me as a kid, I think Maggie was most memorable. How do you preserve that legacy of these brands, and how do you use AI now to transform storytelling?
Okay, you try your best to ensure that the legacy is just in the word and it's not a brand of the past. So that's the starting point. But listen, there is no conversation today that doesn't happen without AI. So I'll start the conversation by saying even Maggie has AI in it. But the artificial intelligence part there is absolutely not what we're talking about. There's magic in the brand. There's magic in the aroma. So what AI is helping us today, and it's similar for a lot of large brands, is personalization at scale, right? Maggie launched in 1983. We're celebrating actually 50 plus years as we speak. So 50 years, we've been having personalization at scale by just having the pack and memories that we create. So it's a little bit of a deja vu, it's a little bit of a circle back moment.
So how do you preserve the brand equity in times of AI? And it's not just going to be Maggie specific, but more like Nestlé specific.
See, I'll contrast that with two of the categories we're in, right? So we've recently started scaling up our presence in pet care, Purina.
Wow.
And internally we call Purina as the Maggie for pets. So there is absolute magic in being able to personalize our conversations on Purina. We now can identify who are the pet parents, what are they looking for, and how and why. We're able to have conversations from our global setup, bring in, adapt it to the Indian market. We know that the cat market is a lot bigger and better. So yeah, so two ends of the spectrum, and easy for us to now be able to have conversations that can carry the essence of our brands. Purina we are creating, Maggie we are continuing.
Chandan, how's life in times of AI, especially when it comes to hyper-speed commerce environment?
Now we can get creatives in minutes, and that's what we're all here for. So yeah, we're doing some cool stuff with AI. A lot of our performance creatives are now, we can now customize these creatives city-wise or even pin code-wise. A lot of personalization that you see on the app, your app experience is very much personalized. So what shows up on your app is not what will show up on his app, depending on your habits, and not just what you have ordered in the past, but demand prediction of we think that this is relevant to you basis your habits and not what we have seen as others are buying. So a lot of demand prediction, personalizing the in-app experience,
Contextual communication, how does that work out for Zepto?
In performance marketing also we're doing a lot of customization, like I mentioned, city-wise, and the creators are doing really well. We see better metrics than the non-AI ones that we used to do earlier. For example, we did a campaign for some value prop for Jaipur in particular, just Jaipur, and we used camel as a story vehicle, and that performed really well. I think the consumers are consuming AI content and accepting AI content more than regular short content. So that's good news.
That's very interesting that you use the camel, but how did you build, say, you gave the example of the camel, but how did the AI communication help you build on, say, just that idea of a camel?
Good thing is that, in Perf, you can always do A/B experiments. So depending on, you can do the traditional way of thinking or... See, good thing with AI is that if you have 5 ideas, you can execute all 5 with the budget you have. Earlier, you would really stress test, somehow do concept testing. Now, concept testing can be done on the fly, on the go.
So I'm going to take that forward with Aditya as well, because I think the concept is still very basic. Like, let me take it forward with, say, the concept of, say, he said that they use the camel. So how are you building on that offline retail behavior? How do you bridge that, say, with digital storytelling or even personalization?
So we have a good presence across both B2C and we also have a sizable supply to restaurants. Now, why I'm mentioning this is because we draw significant insights from offline and translate those into performance marketing on online. And I'll give you a couple of examples. What we learn from offline, from our offline behavior is that consumers typically purchase our products on a Sunday afternoon because family time is non-negotiable for them, and the family's together and they want to eat that. What we learn from our restaurant partners is that the category, the QSR and French fries category, is largely a functional category in metros. But if you think about a place like Charkhi Dadri, or you think about a place like Gwalior, there people actually dress up to come to a small QSR. Yeah. So basically, it is celebratory. So what AI helps us do is marry the consumption occasion with the emotion behind the need for consumption and churn out creators. The AI is as good as what the creative brief is, and the creative brief, we refine it via a lot of our offline insights.
No, but with creativity also comes the challenge of originality, and that's exactly what we've all been discussing throughout. And that's why, Sandeep, I want to bring you in on how do you actually incorporate originality, say, for luxury items, and how do you, in fact, balance that challenge of craftsmanship, positioning Jaguar as a premium brand as well?
See, thank you everyone for having me here. See, I think very, very important for us to know that we are not a DIY country. And bathroom and lighting as a product, you always wanted to have a great bathroom or a great lighting. Like example, this is not good lighting for us, So majority people don't understand difference between white light, a yellow light, product self. So largely this category has its own nuance. So largely as a brick and mortar business, the larger learnings are through events and activities offline. Digital has been, in a way is a new, and within the digital you have an AI intervention. So this category we are learning, but just to give you a small case in point, we generate almost about 50 lakh footfall on a website on a monthly basis for a category like bathroom. And then we realize that how to make sure and engage with these customers. So we built a platform which is just in a testing phase. What we realized, people don't know where to start a journey. If I want to have a great bathroom, I typically will walk into a dealer showroom and say, ki, mujhe kuch dikha do, or maybe whatever the architects or maybe a plumber which have trained them. So basically we have come to a point that to engage an end customer on a website, we are basically asking a couple of basic questions in terms of family size, the budgets, things like that. So basic things, which generates a BOQ automatically for him. Okay. Yeah. Like example, if you want a great shower, you need a thermostat. you need a great shower, you need a water heater because you don't know the throughput of a shower. Typically, we'll end up buying a water heater from an electrician shop. An electrician has nothing to do with shower. So we're prompting this automatically. We're generating a BOQ from him. From a BOQ, we generate a 2D drawing and a 3D drawing for him. And with this IP, I can track him, which is my closest dealer. Okay? So now armed with this data, this guy walks up to a dealer showroom, even he's interacting with an architect, he's far, far more informed. Okay. So, right now from the point is, this is the kind of intervention and doing in many spaces. So when you reach out to your customers in this structured way, with the help of technology, I think you are making a point.
It's interesting you emphasize on structure, and I want to get in an idea from Pooja on if structure works for you as well, because innovation and utility are also important for your brand. How are you capitalizing on AI, especially when it comes to, say, storytelling that's resonating across diverse households?
That's a great question. Thank you. Before I jump into that, I'm not sure how many people here know Versuni. A show of hands, how many people here know Versuni? Yeah, that's probably a lot of my team sitting in different parts of the room. Guys, we are a private equity-owned company that runs Philips home appliances and Preeti home appliances across the country. So every time you see a Philips air fryer or a Philips mixer grinder or a Preeti mixer grinder, that's us for you. I think that context is important for them to know what we really do. When you think of brand building in the age of AI, I think you need to step back and first redo the basics. Okay, the basics of brand building is about delivering a relevant promise consistently over a period of time. Those are the 4 basic tenets that haven't changed since the inception of brand building. And I don't think they're going to change. What AI helps us do in this age and all the structure, etc., these are all tools, I think, to just manage, accelerate different parts of the same equation. For example, 4 keywords. So brand, relevance, promise, consistency. All 3 stages have a lot of work that AI can actually ease out. For example, relevance. Consumers are changing, their habits are evolving. We still continue to believe that people buy appliances with a utility mindset in place. Maybe not. And an air fryer is a classical example of it. Frankly speaking, you've been eating this food all your life. You will continue to eat it. Your kitchens were running before it came, and your kitchens are still running with it. Utility is very little to do with what an air fryer sparks into you. It's largely built on a desire and an increased availability of monetary power in your hand, your increased propensity to spend. Now, to be able to capture these trends and innovate on the basis of these trends is something that AI smoothens out quite a lot and makes us more agile. So it makes a brand stay relevant with evolving consumers, evolving lifestyles. That's first.
And when we speak about evolving, Varun, we are also looking at personalization across brand platforms. And so for Nestlé, what is the challenge, especially in terms of making it a collective brand to reckon with across India?
See, personalization is great, right? But you need to have a little bit of a brand synergy with who you're going to talk to, and you have to have a role. So I will sort of take a step back and say ki today, if there is anything that marketers would say at Nestlé as significantly up their quality of life, it is the conversations we have with our agency partners. So when we start getting ideas from them, they're already beta tested at their end. So they come back to us with something that's much richer. So the brand promise is simpler. So tomorrow, we know a Maggie can personalize at scale, a Nescafe can, but we possibly wouldn't do that for a Kit Kat, right? And I'll take an example. And the second, as soon as I saw him, I was like, that's a brilliant color, purple, right? We have another brand, very purple color brand, Munch. Everyone talks red, yellow. We love purple. So yeah, we'll talk about a connect on that brand separately. But Munch already, it works brilliantly in rural. There's fantastic brand equity. We're able to contextualize the kind of conversations that we have, test with rural consumers brilliantly. So a lot of what we speak about is the front end of what consumers see, but the back end of how the ideas come to life to personalize, I think that's brilliant.
How is quick commerce operating, especially when it comes to performance metrics? They are often dominating the market as well. So how do you ensure that AI-driven efficiency is incorporated, say, into the brand management, the brand propaganda, so that, the long-term brand equity is not overshadowed?
I think we're very young to be thinking about the long term, but I don't know what 6 months from now we'll be talking about. So that's too long a horizon for us. But yeah, I think every part of our, I'm more of a brand guy than the performance. So let me add brand perspective to it. But every stage
That's also an interesting conundrum. Are we looking at, say, in the age of AI, you can't think long term?
No, I'm not saying that. Our category is so young that I don't know what long term is. For me, I have to, as of now, the biggest challenge that I am trying to solve and ace is we are probably the only category which is relevant 5 times a day. As compared to, like you're relevant probably once every few years. But we are relevant 5 times a day. How can I build that brand relevance and then take it to brand preference 5 times a day? And how can AI help me there? That's what we are struggling with. So can't think of 6 months or a year from now. But as of now, I'm thinking what more can we do for Valentine's Day so we can be more relevant and more preferred.
Relevance one, I think Aditya can weigh in on habit and repeat purchases. How do you stay relevant then? And how do you utilize AI now to reshape brand perception?
So, unlike Chandan's business and Chandan's category, I'd aspire to that big time. If we had a consumption frequency of 5 times in a day, I would be, it would be fantastic. So our challenge really is not about frequency in our business. It's really about, it's about penetration fundamentally. It's about telling consumers why this category is relevant to them, why it touches across consumption touch points. So I think similar to air fryers and our business, the task is really that. I think what AI does fantastically well in that space is that it's quite conducive to performance marketing, and performance marketing actually gets in consumers for us. So if my target is, if my target is to drive brand penetration, the approach is to identify consumer touch points which are conducive to that, and then personalize content which actually drives conversion. So it's relevant, but frequency is not my, frequency and habit is not really a brand.
Sandeep, across architect, dealer and consumer experiences, how are you utilizing AI at the moment?
I just give you one data point for the dealers, because this category, the dealer experience, because he has a finite space, and obviously the bandwidth, the category is also a challenge. So do we have a large own experience centers which educate people? But I am always wary what my dealers are talking to end customer, because they are not giving the right answers. So what we do is typically, which is GMB, Google My Business. So they generate a lot of calls, and it's impossible for me to read all the calls. So we do a lot of with the AI agents. We do get a whole understanding what is the kind of a communication they're making, how there's a query handling is there. So so we are now really going down to the dealer level, what his challenges are, what his basically issues are, how he is responding to the questions. So yes, we use products like this, which is typically unheard in this category.
Pooja, quick thoughts on, you're looking at smart ecosystems also and connected appliances. How is AI helping you all now to sustain consumer relationships in these environments? With also a lot of focus on sustainability nowadays.
So I think sustaining consumer relationships and sustainability can be split in 2 parts. AI, I think, has a massive role in doing both, particularly with respect to connected ecosystems. See, the thesis around connected ecosystems is that people want a more seamless integration of appliances in their lives. Nobody wants to adjust what they are doing just because an appliance has come into their lives, right? An AI-enabled connected device basically helps you adjust so much more to what the consumer's usage pattern is, right? For example, home automation devices, Alexas, for example, was launched a few years ago, and nobody really needed it. And now, in a few years' time, all the smart automated devices are actually coming in with Alexa enablement, right? That's simply because you want to become part of the user's life, and you want to make the experience so seamless for them that you do not stick out as a sore thumb in their mind, you become a part of their life. So I think AI has a huge role to play in just feeding back that information on what is it that the consumer is really using, experiencing. For us at Philips, for example, it's a huge amount of data that we actually input back into our devices and into our marketing to see how we can make the next version much better than the previous version. We have a whole ecosystem of connected devices all connected to the same app, which not only guides you how to take the best use of your appliance, but also tells us back what is it that you are doing with it.
Right. So I think the key word is also guidance, which is helping us
Absolutely.
transform the overall landscape. The soul will still remain very human, and I'm sure that nuancing which humans bring cannot be replaced. I'm sure we all are on the same page about that. Many thanks to you all for joining in on this very interesting and fast-moving discussion. We are running short of time, so I'm going to, on that note, let's have a huge round of applause, if not for me, for my esteemed panelists, please.